Hello everyone and welcome to episode 152 of the New Japan Pro Wrestling series here on the channel in TEW 2020, as it is the World Tag League, the Real World Tag League, and my oh my, our last tour of the year, and for of course the implications for this tour due to some negotiating, a part of the order of change in as far as the Pride of New Japan, trying to get something worked out to where at Wrestle Kingdom it will end as far as whoever will get out of a best of 7 series of matches that are taking place on the show. Whoever has the most wins as far as out of that best of 7 series, I guess you could say the winner of that best of 7 series, will in fact be in charge of New Japan, and the other group must disband. So that is a big implication, and a part of that, as far as negotiating for that to take place, was the Order of Change requesting yet again, much like they did with Jude London and Paris Silva, to not have the IWGP Tag Team Champions Jay White and Juice Robinson not be involved in the tournament. So it will be 10 challenging teams, with of course the winner taking on that championship team at Wrestle Kingdom. As for our tournament, as far as it is as followed: Alex Coughlin, I must say Alexander Coughlin, as far as Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors of the Order of Change and a part of Peace, Love, and War. Of course, for them, even though they are a part of the Order of Change, you might think, they probably wouldn't want to win this thing. Nah, they definitely want this, because if in fact they can take away a matchup from the Pride of New Japan, the better. And to be able to keep those belts, the absolute better. So for them, that is their mission. Obviously, Jon Moxley and Tyler Black teaming up in this World Tag League. This is massive. Absolutely massive to see these two men back again teaming. They have faced some teams in the past, as far as they were obviously, as far as mainly on opposite sides of each other. I believe it was either to build up to like a title matchup. They teamed up against, I want to say it might have been the Walter Zack Sabre Jr. team. We'll talk about that once we get to that matchup in the tournament, as far as just to remind everybody how that went. But this is a big opportunity for Jon Moxley and Tyler Black. Of course, Moxley is still the Intercontinental Champion, so could, as far as maybe even, they might even force a vacate of the belt if he will be at Wrestle Kingdom competing in the tag team title matchup, or maybe not. Maybe they'll let Moxley go for the double champ status. That's Kazuchika Okada and Ricochet, the New Japan Strong Openweight tag team champs. They are the only champions in this, so you could say they are the pseudo targets for this. Of course, whoever wins over them will get a future title matchup. So obviously they will be gunning for them. Chaz Gable and Shotaro Ashino of Suzuki-gun, and of course part of the Pride of New Japan, much like Koji Kamai is. So you got 3 straight Pride of New Japan teams there. Then Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima, who are in the freelance area. They are in, of course, they are Switzerland in this battle between the two groups, not affiliated with either side. And, of course, Kota Umeda is still the Junior Heavyweight Champion as well, so they might have a chance to snag both the Junior Heavyweight and the IWGP Tag Team Heavyweight titles, which that would be huge for that group. And they are definitely a hell of a team, too, with Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima. Miro and Brody King teaming up again for the first time since Miro left the House of Torture. Of course, now with the Monstars, you in the House of Torture being a part of the Order of Change, they figured this would be the best time to bring them back together as two absolute units in there, too, as far as size-wise. Maybe potentially the biggest team in there. The Monstars team might have beaten them on that, but they're a hell of a team as far as size-wise, and are going to be tough to put away. We got Ruby Soho. My God, that is definitely not what we need, as it's supposed to be Roosh and Riley. I don't know why Ruby Soho got put in there. she is a part of a tournament, though, as far as their throughout New Japan Strong. There's a 8-women's tournament to determine who will face Chris Statlander for the women's title at Wrestle Kingdom. That was just funny that it took me so long to see that it's Ruby Soho there at 7th. But yeah, Rush and Ryu Lee of the Bomb Squad, and of course part of the Pride of New Japan. They're looking to get a big win because, of course, they're 2/3 of the Never Openweight 6-man tag team titles, which they'll probably be defending those belts at New Year's Dash in the Gauntlet as well. Prehistoric Barbarians, of course, Barbaro Cavanero and Caveman Oog, as also part of Peace, Love, and War in the Order of Change. The Monstars, which will be Keith Lee and Donovan Dijak. As far as Keith Lee and Dijak are a hell of a team, and they are going to be a team that's going to be hard to put away. That is for sure. As far as with size-wise, they've been former New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Champs as well. Maybe they can get it done here and challenge Jay White and Juice Robinson. And United Empire of Zack Sabre Jr. and Volter, rounding out the group, a former winner of this tag league. And they got a chance to win a huge, huge tournament to go on to Wrestle Kingdom as well. But that is our 10. And we will jump now to the Tag League show. Of course, because of it being a round-robin tournament throughout this tour, we're just going to run the shows. We're not going to add them to the booking sheet because, obviously, it's just going to be tournament matches throughout the tour, just to save a little bit of time as well. And yeah, on to the kickoff show we go. Alright, so, of course, the kickoff show, 50,000 people on hand for it, as Keisuke Okuda beating Ryoshi Kai to open up the show, which, man, what a spot for a young lion to be able to work in front of 50,000 people. Pretty crazy, probably very fucking nerve-wracking, but Keisuke Okuda gets it done in 10 minutes with the cross-arm breaker, as Kazuchika Okada has definitely been out of this tournament now with that injury, because that does not sound good at all. A spermatic cord torsion, yes, as far as looks like something got all tangled up, as Alex Coughlin's going to get to win the STF over Kazuchika Okada, so even then, he would get a future title shot, would Coughlin and Connors, but man, Okada getting hurt in the very first fucking match of the Tag League, quite fitting. Quite fitting. This match, wow, an 80. I'm actually very surprised by this. I mean, Dijak, best guy in the match, though. What a performance from him, as Caveman Oog and Barbaro Cavanero hitting the Barbaric Bomb on Keith Lee, which is not an easy feat at all. And what a win, though, for the Prehistoric Barbarians. A good little matchup. 78 for Chaz Gable and Shotaro Ashino against Miro and Brody King, as Miro and Brody King get the job done in 13 minutes after Miro taps out Chaz Gable with the Game of Torture. And that is a massive, massive win and a huge upset to kick off the tournament, beating a team like Gable and Ashino. My God, a 98. I thought about this being the main event. I honestly thought the next matchup was going to be better. But my God, did it deliver in a huge way, as Tyler Black does in fact beat Volter, though, with a curb stomp in 23-13. What a win for the Moxley-Tyler Black duo. A duo that's been forged by combat, and they beat a hell of a team in Volter and Zack Sabre Jr. Oh, it did outperform it. Oh my God. As a 99 for our main event, Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima winning, as winning over Ryu Lee and Rush, as I completely forgot that the Nakajima-Takeshita team does not have good chemistry, so that's unfortunate. I was thinking of Cody Maeda and Konosuke Takeshita as a team that does not have chemistry issues, so that's unfortunate. Completely shocked it did not remind me of that there was some chemistry issues, but even with the bad chemistry for them, still a great match. It's still a 99 because of that Ryu Lee and Rush team that were fantastic. As what a show. As I definitely want to put over let's put over Zack Sabre Jr., let's put over Ryu Lee, and let's put over Tyler Black, because those three in particular were fantastic tonight. Very, very tough break about Kazuchika Okada, and hopefully there's no as far as a long-term injury, but I'm assuming there will be, because that does not sound good at all. As on to day 2, we go. Alrighty, so for night 2, we do have to talk about the injury with Kazuchika Okada. Of course, it was a serious injury. He is out for 8 months, and he will now be replaced by a Koji Kamai member, as he's going to be replaced by Carl Fredericks. So Fredericks and Ricochet will continue on with the tour, and also, because they have not defended those belts yet, as far as the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team titles, Kazuchika Okada will also be replaced, as far as with Carl Fredericks for the belts as well. So Carl Fredericks gets his first ever piece of gold, and it's because it's handed to him off of an injury, but it happens. As our opening contest, though, Tetsuya Endo beating J.S. Hayes with a Phoenix Splash again. Young Lion losing in the opening contest. As Chaz Gable, Satoru Ashino beating Coughlin Connors with the ankle hold. As Ashino getting the win with Gable. Surprised that matchup didn't go as well as I thought. They almost got outperformed, which is kind of crazy. Ashino was really off his game, so there is that. It's crazy, he got outperformed by Clark Connors. That's just wild to me. I don't know what the hell happened there. But a big win, though, nonetheless, for Suzuki-gun. As Miro and Brody King beating the Prehistoric Barbarians. And we have an ankle sprain for Caveman. Ooh, oh my god. We just can't get away from injuries, as game over for Miro. That's their second win, though. And beating Barbaro Cavanero is huge as well. Interesting that got a 75, though. And it was Miro who caused it. Just great. So 84, though, for Jon Moxley and Tyler Black against the Monstars team of Keith Lee and Donovan Dijak as the Death Rider from Moxley over Keith Lee. Oh my god, that definitely would not be the finish. That's a big motherfucker to be picking up like that. As it probably would have been, honestly, as far as, I don't know if he could do a headlock driver as the finish with that. I think that might be kind of the best way going about it. Yeah, that's probably what it ended up being. Well, I guess he could use a rope-assisted Death Rider. Even then, maybe like him and Black hoist him up onto the ropes for it. Maybe that'd be the finish, but it's tough. Tough nonetheless. Carl Fredericks and Ricochet have absolutely zero chemistry, so this is just getting from bad to worse here, as Rush gets the win over Carl Fredericks with the Rush driver. Unreal, unfucking real. As Riley and Rush getting the win. Really no surprise, they get a feature tag team title matchup with that win. But 0-2 start for the Coach Kamai team, and it is just awful. And I did not know, as far as I was like, why didn't it, why didn't I know that Katsuka Nakajima and Konosuke Takeshita can't team with bad chemistry, They have never teamed before. That was the first time they'd ever been in a 2v2 matchup, which is kind of crazy to think that this was the first time here in this tournament, and you just, having to get fucked over with chemistry again, which that group has had a lot of bad chemistry. I think it's Umeda and Kenta, maybe, have awful chemistry. As far as Nakajima, I believe maybe it's Nakajima and Umeda also have bad chemistry, or Nakajima and Kato Crusher, something like that. There's like a handful of combinations that have awful chemistry or bad chemistry, or just, don't have good chemistry in this case, and just awful to get this main event kind of sideswiped by that, as Volter and Zack Sabre Jr. do get the win, though, as Zack Sabre Jr. gets the win there of Katsuka Nakajima, which is great for him, and great for the United Empire, but my god, this tag league is off to a horrendous start. Carl Fredericks and Ricochet, it's just, we're fucked, on that one. Again, just who would have thought that they would have awful chemistry. And, it just is what it is. We're going to have to, just kind of power on through that. There's nothing really more we can do. But on to day 3, we go. Alrighty, so day 3 of the tag league here, as we open up with a Joshi Trios match. It's Queen's Quest taking on Kingdom of Torture. And the Kingdom of Torture is going to take the fall here, as Utami Ashisa is going to beat Raven Creed with the Samoan drop. Utami Ashisa, the best woman in the match, followed by Tam Nakano, and then, then Thunder Rosa, then Teonma. So almost a clean sweep there, but yeah, obviously the better team getting the win. A decent little opener. But yeah, we're in Shigoku, so only like 2,000 people showing up. Pretty much a sellout for this exhibition hall here in Symbol Tower, as the Symbol Tower Exhibition Hall in Shigoku, Japan, as Chaz Gable and Satoru Ashino beating the Prehistoric Barbarians. in 22 minutes. Shito Ashino pinning Caveman Oog with the T-bone. And again, Caveman Oog, he just had that injury, and that's taken a big toll on him, which is no surprise. So, match kind of stunk a little bit for what this could have been, obviously, with a healthy Caveman Oog, but it is what it is, unfortunately. And yeah, and the Carl Fredericks Ricochet experience continues to just be a disaster. We are just stuck with it as United Empire get the win, as Zack Sabre Jr. and Walter beating the Carl Fredericks Ricochet team, which Walter wins with a rear naked choke over Carl Fredericks. And yeah, the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions have lost every single match so far, so not a great start for them. A 77 as well for the Monstars versus Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima. Is even with the bad chemistry, they still outperformed Dijak and Lee as Takeshita with a javelin kick at 9:32. This was supposed to be the Steelers Row matchup, but boy, not a whole lot of ceiling going on there as far as that was a bit of a terrible matchup for what we want. As Connors and Coughlin losing to Rush and Ryu Lee as, they're winning. They beat Rush and Ryu Lee. What an upset here as Coughlin wins with the STF over Rush. Massive win. Massive win. And then 82 for our main event. Brody King and Miro beating Jon Moxley and Tyler Black as he wins with the Game of Torture after interference from Sonata, and we see Jay White and Juice attack Tyler Black as well. So a 3-on-1 on the outside as, just basically leaves Moxley all by himself for a good bit of the match. And he can't overcome the two big men and Brody and Miro, and eventually loses to him, and loses to the man who beat him, or rather he beat, for the to retain his Intercontinental title at our previous tour. As Tyler Black on 86, best guy in the match, followed by Miro, and then Moxley. It's a pretty good match for all things considered. And our main event, at least, was almost the best thing on the matchup, or best thing on the card. That would be Rush and Riley, but a bunch of 77s there. And, we're just kind of stuck with knowing that some matches are going to be bad because of things kind of outside of our control. Just kind of is what it is. But as long as nobody else gets hurt, we should be okay. As on to day 4, we go. Alrighty, day 4 starts off with a Tactical Masterclass Trios match, as we're going to have United Empire versus Kingdom of Torture here, as the United Empire team gets the win. They were the better team, obviously with Lee Moriarty kind of leading the charge. Josh Alexander was off his game, so was Lee Moriarty, which is kind of crazy. He still was the best guy in the matchup, and it wasn't even close. The closest guy was Drew Parker, who unfortunately had to lose to Axel Dieter Jr., who won with a Regalplex, too. So there is that. Next matchup, finally, Carl Fredericks and Ricochet get a win. They beat Dijak and Keith Lee. Ricochet gets a 6:30 and picks up the win. A much-needed win rolling into day 4. And Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima getting the win here over Brody King and Miro, as this was set as the Steal the Show matchup, which again, even with their bad chemistry, still outperformed Brody King. So at least that finish makes sense. And it's a good win for Diamond K, despite the bad chemistry. And then for Caveman Oog and Barbera Cavanero, they fall short against Jon Moxley and Tyler Black. A pissed off Jon Moxley and Tyler Black after getting screwed out of a matchup, as Jon Moxley pinning Caveman Oog with a Death Rider. Again, big fucking dude to be picking him up like that, but gets the win nonetheless, as Tyler Black and Jon Moxley obviously the better team there. And 89 for our co-main event, United Empire versus Peace, Love, and War, as Clark Connors and Alex Coughlin losing to Walter and Zack Sabre Jr., as Zack gets the submission victory there. And an 89 too, so that's a good little co-main. Main event though, an 86. It's a time limit draw though, our first time limit draw of the year, as Rush and Ryu Lee getting the 1-point draw, with Chaz Gable and Shotaro Ashino, of course, also get a 1-point tiebreaker. That's unfortunate for either team, because the way this is going, it's going to come down to basically whoever can stop. Right now, it seems like, at least with United Empire, Zack Sabre Jr. and Walter, they're a team to watch out for. Also, obviously Moxley and Tyler Black. Coughlin and Connors were getting some big wins along the way. Amira and Brody King have gotten some big wins along the way as well. it's definitely going to come down to some of those teams that have already been rolling pretty high. Because I think right now we're already at day 4. It's a little. We'll be at the halfway point after day 5, and we'll probably look at the standings for the first time at day 6, and see where everybody's at after 6 nights of action. And so on to the next day. We go. Alrighty, day 5 of the tag league here. We have a Young Lioness match as I, Narita, losing to Rina in 10 minutes. We forgot to add Rina's finishers or whatnot still, but yeah, both girls off their game. Not a great opener, but it is what it is. We had to open up with something. Very good match here, though. Moxley and Tyler Black beating the Gable Ashino team. Tyler Black with a curb stomp over Chaz Gable. Big win there. Just that 25 minutes. Tough break here. So, Kidman Oog, this is his last day of being injured, so that's great. It's positive there. However, Cavanero off his game. Obviously, Takeshita and Nakajima, they don't have the chemistry, so just a whole lot of negatives going into this match, but somehow pulled off a 74, and a huge upset, too, by the Prehistoric Barbarians after Caveman Oog pins Katsuhiko Nakajima after a barbaric bomb. A massive win. Massive win there. And a big 2 points, and finally, Carl Fredericks at Ricochet here. We see Carl Fredericks getting a win with a lifting DDT, so basically a Death Rider. On to Brody King, which again, that's crazy. That's a big man to be hitting that finish on. But him and Ricochet getting a win, I mean, just one team with excellent chemistry, the other team with zero chemistry. Just brutal. Absolutely brutal. 78 for the co-main, the Monstars versus Coughlin Connors. As the Monstars, they pick up their first win of the tournament as Dijak with the overhead belly-to-belly suplex over Clark Connors. Big win. For Dijak, he outperformed Coughlin, who was off his game, but yeah, Keith Lee, a little tired towards the end of this matchup, and yeah, pretty brutal, but it's kind of crazy with the excellent chemistry still. Coughlin Connors, neither one of them can pull off an 80 plus rating. In our main event, though, and a hell of a matchup, 24 minutes. Falter, Zack Sabre Jr. beating Rush Inarayu Lee as Falter gets the win there in 25 minutes. Huge win. Huge win. Everybody in the 80s here got the crowd hotter and definitely saved the show. Because before that, the best thing was the first matchup of the tag league. Everything else was below an 80. Luckily, we ended out with a good matchup. And now on to day 6. We will take a look at the standings before we run the show, just to see where everybody's at. So far, it's been a pretty close race. As far as there's not a team that's really running the table. Everybody's gotten their losses so far. Nobody is, got a clean slate as far as being undefeated so far. So that's, it's gonna be a tight race so far. We'll see how it all plays out, though, because we basically got about a week left, when you really think about it. Since we talked about, just being already here at the standings, we can just look at it now. As, Tyler Black and Moxley and Zack Sabre Jr. Volter tied with 8 points, each with 1 loss. United Empire, of course, lost to Moxley and Tyler Black, so they have a tiebreaker win over them, but since they do have the same amount of points, it's, as far as it's a good favor for them. But, of course, Miro and Brody King, they do have the tiebreaker over Tyler Black and John Moxley, so they're hoping for a win there. As far as now, the Prehistoric Barbarians with 4 points. They got some big wins, though, over the Monstars and Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima. So maybe they'll make a little run. Still crazy that Carl Fredericks and Ricochet do, in fact, have 4 points. They got their first win over the Monstars, and they just picked up another one tonight. Miro and Brody King, of course, with 6 we already talked about. It's crazy that Rush and Riley only have 3 points. It's because they're probably one of the best teams we have, talent-wise, and they have fallen short just a little bit. They still have 4 matches left, so there's still at least time to finish above 10 points, but man, just a tough go of it, especially losing to Coughlin Connors, losing to Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima as well. The United Empire loss just happening was tough too, but still a lot of time left. A lot of things can change, but so far, that is what the standings are looking like. And now we go to day 6. Alrighty, day 6, we start off with a Young Lion matchup, as Yui Moore getting the win with a bridging double underhook suplex. Yeah, not a great way to start the show. I figured this might be a little too bad to open up the show. Probably should have saved it for like a strong debuting or something. It's the 69 though, for Coughlin Connors against Brody King and Miro. As Coughlin Connors do in fact get the win. Obviously, technical masterclass matchup gets as far as dropped down a little bit because the opening matchup stunk, but at least as far as performance wise, at least we had a couple of 70s in there. But yeah, just not great, decent matchup, and this is even worse as Carl Fredericks and Ricochet losing to Caveman Oog and Barbaro Cavanero. Which luckily Caveman Oog is not injured anymore, but still wasn't a great match by any means. And as far as the Barbaric Bomb before Caveman Oog getting the win in 13-11, it's an 80 for Ryu Lee and Roosh beating the Monstars as Dijak taking the Rush driver from Roosh, obviously the better team getting the win in that one. Another 80 as Kazuchika Nakajima and Konosuke Takeshita losing to Tyler Black and Jon Moxley as Moxley with a Death Rider onto Nakajima. Obviously the better team getting the win there because of the chemistry. And another 80. So yeah, just so far probably the worst tour show of this tour. As Gable Ishino beating Walter and Sexy Jr. I thought that at least this match would do well, and it did not. I can't believe it was only an 80, but yeah, that's brutal. Brutal. At least nobody got hurt. So yeah, we just have days 7, 8, 9 left of the tour. Coming up on the home stretch. On to day 7 we go. Alrighty, day 7 starts off with a nice little, I would say kind of a mixed bag of heavyweight and junior heavyweight tag team matchup. But really, Keisuke Okuda and Kenta, I mean, obviously Kenta started off as a junior. Keisuke Okuda could definitely be a junior. And this is a fun little match, though. Gets an 81, and Kenta and Kato Crusher of Diamond K getting the win. Kind of crazy, Kato Crusher was the worst guy in the match. Definitely thought it was going to be Okuda, but good little matchup, though. And Kato Crusher gets the win with the Argentine backbreaker. Kenta was really off his game, too, and he still pulled off a 64, even at his big age, in the year of about to be 2029. Kind of crazy. As the Prehistoric Barbarians losing to Coughlin Connors. It's a fun little peace, love, and war matchup here. As Coughlin Connors get the better of them. They are the better team, so it makes sense. And Clark Connors gets with the roar of a champion over Barbaro Cavanero in 20 minutes as an 80 for United Empire and the Monstars. Only 10 minutes because obviously Keith Lee, we want to keep this short for him. But Walter and Sexy Jr. getting the win with Walter choking out Keith Lee with a rear naked choke. Big win there. And another 80. 78 for Fredericks and Ricochet, losing to Jon Moxley and Tyler Black, who are just running away with it now as far as from this tag league perspective. They are a tough team to beat, and they're proving it day in and day out right now. But Tyler Black wins with the curb stomp over Ricochet in 25 minutes. 85 for Miro and Brody King against Roosh and Ryu Lee. This could have been the main for sure. Roosh gets the win to La Lanza over Miro. Big win there for the Roosh Ryu Lee team. Hell of a matchup though. And got the crowd on for our main event, which swings and misses. Tough break there. Shitoro Ashino getting the submission win with the reverse cross arm breaker in 26-14. Gable and Ashino, they were the better team, but obviously, I'm sure if Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuka Nakajima didn't have, as far as, at least it's not like they have zero chemistry. They just don't really work well together. So it's not great, but it could be a lot worse as far as regarding their chemistry. But a 78 here, but at least we get an 85 main event. And really everything was in the green / light blue, of course, that co-main event. Can't really be mad at that. And again, it's coming down to our last two shows. I think we're going to take a look at the standings after this show, after day 8, to see how everything is playing out going into the final day. Alrighty, we are here at the Ishikawa Sports Center for day 8, as we have a Young Lioness match, but, I mean, for Hitomi Okumura to get a 42 here, quite impressive. Maki Ito gets the win to DDT in 9:34. It was a good little match, actually. I mean, they rated it poor, but for what we kind of expected and what we really gave out for a Young Lioness match, we'll take that. as Gable and Ashino beating the Monstars team, as Ashino submitting Donovan Dijak with the reverse cross armbar, and again, just they outperformed him. Keith Lee actually did pretty well though, 62. That ain't too bad. But yeah, this was only a 10-minute match. We wanted it to be more on kind of helping out Keith Lee get a good little performance, mainly, than giving it a lot of time. Now we knew this match was gonna suck, so we were waiting for this matchup. The team with just absolutely zero chemistry, and a team that doesn't really have chemistry. Bit of an awkward team, and it turns into a train wreck a little bit. But luckily, Kurosuke Takeshita at least with a 73 to kind of save this match. He pins Carl Fredericks with the touchdown, and an 80 for Rush and Ryu Lee beating the Prehistoric Barbarians. Rush getting one the driver over Caveman Oog. Get a little performance there from Ryu Lee and Rush. And then, actually really good match here. An 89 for Brody King and Miro getting the upset win over Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. Miro submitting Walter, and he outperformed him too, so the right team wins there. At least off of that exchange, but obviously overall, Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. were the better team. But man, that's a hell of a win though, for as far as the order of change. In our main event, Jon Moxley and Tyler Black do in fact pull off the win against Coughlin and Connors, beating them in 27-31. Tyler Black and Jon Moxley picking up the win. And as far as how the standings are going to play out with that United Empire loss, that's really opened up the door for Suzuki-gun. So we might, in fact, see, as far as, so far at least, Coughlin, Connors, Brody King, and Miro, as far as teams that are part of the Order of Change that are trying to create a situation, an environment where no matter what happens, the Order of Change is going to walk away with the tag team titles. It's not looking like that might be the case. As far as from the tournament standings, it is as followed. As United Empire with 10, Gable and Ashino with 11, and then Tyler Black and Jon Moxley, I would say, have pretty much punched their ticket with 14 points. Their one loss being against Miro and Brody King. As far as really this is Gable and Ashino's to lose. They have Carl Fredericks and Ricochet, so you'd assume they're going to get the win there, but you never know. United Empire, they have the Prehistoric Barbarians left. And then, interesting enough, if somehow, if Gable and Ashino lose, if United Empire lose, and, as far as with all that being said, that will mean that Orochi and Ryu Lee, if they in fact pull off a win over Jon Moxley and Tyler Black, they will have a tiebreaker with Gable and Ashino because they both have a draw. So they'll have to have a tiebreaker matchup to determine who's going to face Tyler Black and Jon Moxley, which would be a pretty crazy turn of events. But basically, that is your top four, unless something crazy happens. A lot of teams are, vying for that top 10 in points as far as getting over the hump there. Coughlin Connors with 8, Konosuke Takeshita and Nakajima with 8, Miro and Brody King with 8. As far as for the Monstars team, at least they finished with 2 points, but not a great run overall. Obviously for Carl Fredericks and Ricochet, pretty brutal. Pretty brutal. Kazuchika Okada getting injured really fucked that up. And really, if we would have maybe went with Keisuke Okuda instead, this would have been better. But it is what it is. I'm sure we probably should have went with Airbender, though. Just having him and Ricochet on the same team, even though he's a junior heavyweight, because, the New Japan Strong Openweight, it is openweight, so that would have worked out, too. But we went in another direction, and for Rush and Ryu Lee, too, you gotta remember, too, junior heavyweight tag team champions, as far as the Velocities, they are taking on the Monarch Bomba and Samurai Del Sol at Wrestle Kingdom. So there is a chance that the Bomb Squad can make a clean sweep of the tag team titles, potentially. Obviously, without the New Japan Strong Openweight tag team titles. So not all of them, but at least for the IWGP tag team titles on both sides. So that would be huge for them. But yeah, that's where we're at. Going into the final show. And we'll see who will be joining Tyler Black and Jon Moxley in the finals. Alrighty, so for the final tour show date here for day 9, we see Himeka Rita beating Suri. Now this matchup is to determine who's going to face Starlight Kid at the Tag League Finals to see who's going to take on Chris Statlander at, of course, at Wrestle Kingdom for the women's title. Massive win for Himeka Rita, and her and Starlight Kid should have a pretty good matchup. That's actually the first time they've ever had a match between those two, so that's going to be exciting to see. Again, we forgot to add Rita's finishers, as Coughlin Connors beating Konosuke Takeshita and Katsuhiko Nakajima, as Coughlin pinning Katsuhiko Nakajima with the deadlift German, and a huge win for the Coughlin Connors team. They did outperform, but of course, again, with the negative chemistry, it was bound to happen. But a good little matchup, though. Then 80 for the Monstars, beating Miro and Brody King. Keith Lee with the power slam over Brody King. That's a huge win for Keith Lee. It being around 10 minutes made it obviously easier for Keith Lee, and Dijak damn near outperformed Brody King, but obviously the better team lost here. So an upset for sure. And a nice little 80 though for the segment. And another 80, shockingly, with the Carl Fredericks Ricochet matchup, which we see Shotaro Ashino beating Carl Fredericks with a T-bone. A huge win in 12 minutes, and that is definitely a massive, massive victory for that group. And our next matchup, United Empire beating the Prehistoric Barbarians, and we see Walter and Zack Sabre Jr. getting a massive, massive victory. This may have sealed their chances as far as potentially, obviously, with the Suzuki-gun win. No, it's probably not going to happen. As our main event, though, in 87, it goes the distance, so they don't lose. Jon Moxley and Tyler Black, but Russian Riley can't beat him either. Hell of a little matchup. And with that, and of course, we already knew Jon Moxley and Tyler Black were going on to the finals. But as we take a look, as that was a good little show, too. In 88, as we'll take a look at the standings to see how it ended out. The finals, though, we're obviously going to have the basically the little mini tournament finals matchup for the women's side with Himeka Rita and Starlight Kid. We're also going to see a tag team title matchup between the New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team Champions of Ricochet and Carl Fredericks taking on Coughlin and Connors. But yeah, as far as for the tag league, that's a junior tag league. There we go. With Shotaro Ashino and Chaz Gable with their win. Unfortunately for United Empire, they will be missing out on it. So it will be the two best teams being Shotaro Ashino and Chaz Gable against Jon Moxley and Tyler Black. Suzuki-gun versus Koji Umai, against Task Force Death with, of course, the House of Black leader, the two leaders of each group. Forged by Combat, they get a chance to pull it off and get the win in the World Tag League Finals. But awaiting them, of course, at Wrestle Kingdom will be Jay White and Juice Robinson. We'll see how that plays out now. Alrighty, so we open up the show with a little prelude to Wrestle Kingdom's main event of Hayata Tamura and Sanada, as we see Sanada and Showtime Tanaka get the win over the Dragon Sin team of Hayata Tamura and Kyle O'Reilly. As Tamura with a 90 because of the excellent chemistry, which is great for him. Sanada with a 76, not great, especially for him to be challenging for the heavyweight title come Wrestle Kingdom. He is 40 years old at this time in 2028, so he is up there in age, that is for sure. We'll have to see how that main event plays out, though. Of course, we'll find out in the next episode. Shane Strickland and Pac of, as far as the Task Force Death, a little, since we're having Tyler Black and Jon Moxley, of course, in the main event taking on Suzuki-gun, figured it'd be a fun time to do something along those lines with having a House of Black guy team with Task Force Death guy, and we went with Strickland and Pac, fun little team. They do, in fact, lose to the Order of Destruction. That's because of a DQ, because of Prince Nana attacking Will Hobbs, as Hobbs is, trying to, basically was going to put him through the ring with a spine buster, and just Nana comes in, maybe even with a chair, hits him in the back, they drop him, and they get out of there. So, Strickland avoids that catastrophe. He's also battling Will Hobbs for the New Japan Strong Openweight title at Wrestle Kingdom. That will be a part of the 7-match series, as, of course, the winning group of that best of 7 will, in fact, be in control of New Japan. As so that's a huge, huge task ahead of everybody involved in that best of 7. Designs of Perfection, beating the Bomb Squad here. Of course, we're going to see Demonic Bomba and Samurai Del Sol against the Velocities at Wrestle Kingdom. I think a nice little trios match would be a good little way of building that up. The Designs of Perfection team did get the win. It was actually a pretty close match. As far as, I would say, Bomb Squad just barely better than them overall-wise, but still, hell of a match. And we saw, as far as Drew London pinning Demonic Bomba as well, so maybe we'll see that same fate at Wrestle Kingdom. That was, of course, at 92. At 93, for the Lucha Brothers versus Okami matchup. So we're going to see Daichi Hashimoto versus Rey Fenix for the Never Boy title, which is going to be a hell of a match. And Daichi Hashimoto here with a 92, a 97 for Rey Fenix, 90 for Pentagon Jr. Obviously, the Lucha Brothers, a hell of a team, but we see Pentagon Jr. getting the win with a cross armbar over Hideyoshi Kamitani in 22 minutes. And we see Starlight Kid beating Himeka Arita with the standing moonsault in 24:35. She will go on to face Chris Statlander at Wrestle Kingdom for the women's title. Huge, huge win there for Starlight Kid. Port break for Himeka Arita, as she did outperform her, but she fell short in that matchup. And Coughlin and Connors, they fall short to Ricochet and Carl Fredericks. Extremely tough break there. And as far as for Coughlin and Connors, they miss out on potentially Wrestle Kingdom. But there is, as far as they are trying, in the order of change, trying to negotiate for a rematch, potentially, against, for Coughlin, Connors, Carl Fredericks, and Ricochet, with maybe getting some time to rest before maybe, as far as they are basically complaining, saying they had too much time in between matches, and it's given them a chance to recover. And, as far as when the last time they beat them to get this New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team title, Carl Fredericks and Ricochet were a new team, so they feel like they need a trilogy matchup. That is what they're pitching. We'll see if they get it, as far as, because obviously it's just only a week away is Wrestle Kingdom, so there's not a lot of time left between the two. And our New Japan Strong Women's Tag Team title matchup, Io Shirai and Kariojo are the new champs. They beat Becky Knockout Quinn and Toni Storm, as they are the new champs, beating the Four Horsewomen. And we'll also be seeing Io Shirai and Kariojo competing at Wrestle Kingdom, defending their belts, as it will be, as far as Julia and Saki Akai in that matchup. So that's going to be a hell of a match there. And our main event, we do in fact see Tyler Black and Jon Moxley beat Chaz Gable and Shotaro Ashino. A hell of a win here, as Tyler Black pins him after the curb stomp, as pinning Chaz Gable, and they are the 2028 New Japan World Tag League winners. And a hell of a team, obviously Moxley and Black, as he, of course, Jon Moxley, he's won it in the past with Pac, but this time you're winning it with Tyler Black, a huge get for him. And of course, post-show wise, celebrating their win, and they are ready for war. Come Wrestle Kingdom, they are going to take down the Order of Change team of Juice Robinson and Jay White, and they're going to become the new IWGP Tag Team Champions. And for Jon Moxley, he's got a chance to be double champ in that one. As a post-show press conference for Starlight Kid, talking about how excited she is to be at Wrestle Kingdom, for the first time in competing for the women's title, and she wants that women's belt again. Of course, she's a former champion, and she's going to look to beat Chris Statlander on the big stage. And we see the post-show ends up the Order of Change, though. And for Sonata, the task is clear for his group to win that best of 7. And he says he knows they have, right here, just looking at the guys that are going to be involved, he knows that Alex Coughlin, Clark Connors, maybe tonight they didn't get the job done, but he's talking about the rematch, the trilogy between Carl Fredericks and Ricochet. He wants it to be done and made sooner rather than later. And if not, he says even the Prehistoric Barbarians might get their chance come Wrestle Kingdom. For Juice Robinson and Jay White, he knows they can get the job done against Tyler Black and Jon Moxley. Talking about how this group, as far as with Tyler Black and Jon Moxley, they've had their history, sure. Everybody knows about it. but they've also have not been teaming as long as Juice and Jay White have, being a part of the Order of Change. And he says that they will get the job done, and of course, for Hobbs and Sonati says it's already in the bag. So we're just right then and there. He's like, well, we already got 4 sides. They're going to get the job done. We're going to walk out of that Wrestle Kingdom still with our belts. Still the best thing happening in New Japan. And we will take over New Japan by destroying it and starting a new promotion. Boy, oh boy. Tall words from the Order of Change. The state of New Japan on the line for our next episode. As, 152 episodes. We've done it. We've made it to the end of another year as well. It is the season of being thankful, as far as the holidays. With, of course, Thanksgiving here in America just happened last week. And, of course, Christmas is coming up. And as far as even, if you're celebrating, Kwanzaa, if you're celebrating, as far as, celebrating Hanukkah, it's a season of really giving. And it's a season of being thankful, really, for what's going on in the world, in your life, whether it's loved ones, whether it's, gifts, or it's, family time, taking care of one another. I do have to say, I have to be thankful for everybody that's been watching this series. 152 episodes, that's a lot. That is a lot of episodes, and it can't be overstated enough how much I appreciate each and every one of you who've been tuning in, rather you joined along the way. If you've been here from the beginning, watching this thing play out, can't thank you enough. Words can't describe it. It won't do it justice. How much that, because man, 152 episodes is a lot. And I will say, the end game is this next episode. The next episode, Wrestle Kingdom, as far as for episode 153, will be the end of TEW 2020 and be the end of New Japan Pro Wrestling here on the channel. This save, a lot of it comes down to, I think it's the perfect time to end it. It is our end game. And sometimes you don't want to run into the ground. And also, too, TEW 2020, it'll be now, obviously once we get into 2025, the game will be 5 years old. It's, TW9's already out. And sure, we could transfer it over. But I feel like it's best to move on. It's time to move on to something different. And, as far as it is going to suck to leave New Japan now, after 9 years almost, if we would have made it to March, to go from 2020 to 2029, but we still are going to at least make it to 2029, ending it out, and, again, it's thankful, and it's all because of you guys, for keeping on tuning in, and now, you'll get to see how it ends. Will New Japan stay afloat, keep the flag waving, and the pride of New Japan will keep it standing, or will this Order of Change destroy New Japan, ending the company as we know it? We'll find out next episode. Take care, everyone.